All right, hey guys. So this weekend, am I cheating to camera or cheating to you? You. Okay. Um, so this weekend, PGA Championship at Aronimink, which is playing behind us right now, and we love sports, but we sometimes like men, and so unfortunately, it's a men's tournament. However, there will be an LPGA event in 2 weeks. But we're all here to talk about what golf can learn and should learn from Philly's queer and women's sports scene. And all of you here are huge people in that scene. Misha, you run Probound Training, and you're also a big business person.
Thank you.
A business
That's
person.
right.
She doesn't ask her that like she means it very serious.
She's a business bitch.
A badass.
A badass business bitch. Ashley, you are one of the founders of Philadelphia Sisters, a sister sports group, which you guys just brought the WNBA, a team here in 2030, which amazing, but also we have to wait for it. So like,
We don't want to wait, so we're gonna do a lot of stuff.
So you're doing a lot of stuff in between. You guys brought Unrivaled here in the winter, and in August, which August 22nd to 29th is the Women's Tennis Association's Philadelphia Classic.
Philadelphia Tennis Classic, the WTA 125 tournament. And by the way, I do want to say Unrivaled, not only did we break the all-time women's professional basketball record, but we broke the venue record for Exponent Mobile.
Yes.
Now, anybody who doesn't know, guess who that venue record was held by? I know. Yes, he wasn't Michael Jordan's last game in Philadelphia. It was the Backstreet Boys. We beat the Backstreet Boys.
That is amazing.
That's crazy.
But I feel like Backstreet Boys is also kind of like queer culture, and I'm not going to explain further. But that's amazing. And if I'm remembering correctly, that classic is the only U.S.-based event before the U.S. Open. Or
it's the one right before the U.S.
Yeah.
Open. It's the only one. You're done your homework. I love it. Okay, so first of all, Phil, can I
Yes,
go?
yes, go.
Because I do want you to introduce yourself. You're a very impressive person. But the women's tennis has not been in Philadelphia for 22 years, women's professional tennis. And we have a long history in Philadelphia. It's very important to us. We like Delaware. You consider yourself the first state, right? Yes, you are. You're right next door, but Philly likes to be the first or the best in everything. Philadelphia, and I think it's 1887, held the first U.S. Open tennis tournament. I don't think it was called that at that time. The first U.S. Open tournament equivalent was held in Philadelphia. So we were the first of that.
That's amazing.
And it was held for a period of time after that. Then you go on, and we have the Advance of Virginia Slims and Billie Jean King, the Philadelphia Freedom. We have a song by Elton John about women's professional tennis in our city. Okay, and yeah, it's been 22 years, right? So that's sad. Then on top of that, we know that we are a very diversity. We're here to talk about like the beauty of the diversity of our city and our country, our world. Yeah. Let's go to our universe. And one of the most famous Black women's tennis players, Ora Washington. She was known as the queen of both courts. She is in the Naismith Hall of Fame and the Basketball Hall of Fame as a women's basketball player. But she also, her other court was professional tennis. And so she was for about a decade basically the number one women's tennis player in the country. Later that was bestowed upon her because she obviously wasn't able, she was restricted from playing in the tournaments that had that designation, but they realized later she should be bestowed with that honor. It's really great. Did I get it wrong? It's perfect. So we have from Germantown. So we have a long history of tennis here, so we're really excited to be hosting that event.
The way that Challengers wasn't based here then. Their tournament was in New York.
I think that my daughter, if Zendaya had come here and filmed Challengers, we would have been having to like in the bushes trying to catch.
They were in Rochester.
I promised her I would embarrass her, so there we go.
No, I would have been out there with you.
Yeah,
we're all out there. Jen,
Yes.
as Ashley mentioned, you are also incredible. I mean, everybody here is incredible. But you are one of the founders of the Stoop Pigeon, which is part of Watch Party Philly, which kind of like was the first piece of bringing Stoop Pigeon to life.
Yeah.
And you guys hosted for years watch parties around the city for women's sports, which is kind of like the only space that women, anybody, had to go just watch women's sports.
To hear it live.
And hear it live, yeah, exactly. Which is incredible. And now with Stoop Pigeon, which you're wearing the jacket, we have a merch queen over here. Even though I like to think I'm a merch queen. Thank you. I'm quality testing it. And people seem to like it, aka all five of you right now. Thank you. I need validation to survive. But Stoop Pigeon, like the really, really fucking cool thing about Stoop Pigeon is that you guys are opening up a brick and mortar women's sports bar in Philadelphia, right on Broad Street, right?
Yes.
Broad Street.
Right?
That is like
More than a bar.
it's what, yeah. Please, I feel like I could just keep talking about how cool it is, and can you like, because there's some cool murals that just went up.
So the coolest part is that it's on Broad Street, which if you're a Philadelphia sports fan, that is where you need to be. Like the history of Broad Street and sports in Philadelphia, I mean, wait until the Eagles win a Super Bowl again, and we are in that space. It is going to be bananas. Like off the wall, like just so excited to now be a part of Philadelphia sports history in that way, but to be a part of the new legacy of Philadelphia sports history, which is women's sports, thanks to Philadelphia sisters.
And together.
And
And
so,
all the groups.
all the groups. We're really building on this wave that is nationally and internationally women's sports finally getting their moment, right? And so some of the cool things that you've heard too, like, so we're putting up several murals in the space, and one specific mural we're going to be working with Mural Arts on is a history of Philly women's sports in on the wall of our
It's so cool.
hub, our women's sports hub. And so that's going to happen in the fall, but it's going to include people like Laura Washington, like people like the teams like the Dolly Martins and the Philadelphia Rage, and all the women and teams that have made an impact in women's sports who are specifically from Philadelphia and the Philadelphia area. And so, which is important that people learn about it. And really, Laura Washington was the person for me who set that off. When I learned about her and what she had done and the amazing athletic talent and records that she held, and found out that nobody knew about her, that was when I knew that mural needed to go up in our space so that people could learn about not only her, but all the other amazing women who stories aren't being told. And so that's a big part of what's going to come later in the hub, and part of what we're really excited is to bring that history and those stories to people of Philadelphia and whoever comes to the space. This, I mean, yes, it's going to be about watching women's sports, but it's also going to be about what we've been doing all along, which is building the community and telling the stories and helping to support women's sports.
And can I guess I want to stop you from speaking. Jen is very, very thoughtful about this. So I've been with her where we mentioned one of the great tennis players, Lisa Raymond, who won for a decade. She was the number one doubles, one of the two people on the number one doubles team in the world for a decade. I mean, she held 3 Grand Slam titles, and she's from Philly. And so so Jen said, well, I didn't know about that, but I need to get her on the wall. So when you thought about it, right, you've left an openness to learn new names and to understand that more people that you could celebrate, that you could all celebrate. And there's some golfers that I know about that you might not know yet on the wall.
And we're gonna, that's a great point. We're gonna build that into the wall. Data had a brilliant idea. So the plan will be that this wall will be a living wall, right? So the people who don't make it onto the wall, we're gonna have a QR code in the mural with a website that brings them to a page that can continue to tell the stories of Philadelphia area athletes, women athletes who are making history, and so that it can just grow and live forever. And so that's just one of many things that will happen.
That's incredible. I feel like a big part of what I wanted to talk about with this panel was exactly that history, right? and remembering that, as much as any sport, but especially golf, both men's and women's golf, are like, we need to get into this new frontier. It's like, no, we've been here, right? One of the things that we've done with Open Fairways is go through kind of history of queer golfers in the LPGA. And Babe Zaharias, one of them, badass just in general. We have Muffin Spencer Delvin, who was the first out LPGA player, like 6 major championships. She also was on Star Trek as a Starfleet
But she's Philly
officer.
too?
I'm not Philly, just kind of. These are all the folks. We can claim them all.
The big thing on the wall.
We'll claim them. But that's all to say that like there is this history, and I think looking at places like the Stoop Pigeon, folks like all of you here and what you're doing, who are really, really making sure that that history stays alive and pulling it into the teams, the leagues that are in this area, I think is something that golf really should pay attention to, right? Like that it's not just, I think there's, God, this is terrible. There's this one golfer that Adidas just created like a commemorative T-shirt for, and they put up like a statue at City Hall. I don't know his name, mainly because he's a man. But it's like there are so many women that we could be doing that with, right? Like there's so much history. So it's incredible to hear that. And I feel, Mary, you are a teaching pro out in Delaware. And I wanted to hear from you, like you had mentioned that you're going to go back to your course and teach some littles, which is, I feel like, is also another piece of that history, right? You're like this next, Devin, you are also the next generation. We'll be coming to you.
These are our surprise panelists.
Our surprise panelists.
You're like, you got here when you consider you. You're welcome to doing all of these things. All the seen those, they said they could see the proud mother of Alicia. If you want, there's a seat at the table.
I will say, I want to take you over, but I will say.
Wait, here.
Wait, you gotta get like,
Get her mic'd up. I will say that we've been so proud of her. I have 3 daughters. She's the one that's the athlete. She took after her father. I didn't really take up sports until later on in life. I fenced for a little while, right? I have a bad back, so I don't do that anymore. So this is a very important forum for young ladies who see you, right, hear you, right, and question, can I do this? I like this. They may see on television folks that look like them, but question, can I do it? So to have a forum, to have a space and a place and an opportunity to educate them, introduce them, right? And then say, you can do this. You can do this. So thank you so very much. Obviously, I'm proud of my daughter in terms of the work that she's doing around the business of basketball. But you don't always just have to play. There are other avenues that you can travel. So thank you so very much for allowing me to have a conversation with you as well. That's Dr. Horsey, by the way. Dr. Horsey.
Professor, something you can speak with such. You really done this, right?
I'm a retired educator.
Yeah, it really makes sense.
Administrator. And I will say that when I was speaking, my mother, who was an educator, and my father, who was an educator, my mother would say, use your teacher voice. So that's my teacher voice. Thank you so very much.
That's why I do this. That's why I do this. Moms are powerful.
Yes.
I am a mom, so everybody say that to me too. Thank you. Mary, back to you. I really, really am curious about the teaching pro side of it. Like, we talk so much about professional golfers. Like, I played professionally, and like that's completely different than being a teaching pro, right? Like, Misha's mom just spoke about representation, and yeah, you can see ideally a lot of people who look like everybody here, who love like everybody here loves, right? But these are people on TV. So I think golf needs to think about what does these different pieces of representation look like. And Misha, you are also a person who is in the teaching space. And for you, Mary, like, what does that representation or what does that even mean in changing the culture of golf as a teaching pro?
Golf has a tough history. Yeah. It's a tough history. And I'll start out by saying I'm from Delaware. I grew up in Delaware, but I played sports in Philly. I played against Ron Staley when I didn't know who Ron Staley was. Quickly found out.
Thanks.
This was back when there weren't AAU teams for everybody. You had to make a team. So I played on the Philly team, but it was not Ron's team. I saw the back air sneakers, the bottom and the back were more than I can tell you.
But having played in that era, you could lose with a team like on 110-2. Like it was, they let you get crushed, right?
Crazy, right? So we both won our separate ways for college, and then I met her again. We were doing back when the Olympic Festival was still around. We were both it was at St. Joe's actually trying out for that team. Oh man, I got a garter again, and the same thing. I saw the bottom of her feet. They just happened to go a lot higher this time. It was like 4 years later. So anyway, I love Philly sports. I'm a Philly sports fan through and through. I got into golf because basketball wasn't good in my body. And my niche area for teaching golf is women, beginners, kids, those that feel on the outskirts of the game. Because again, it has a tough history and we're having a tough time breaking that kind of mold. So I take up space. I'm kind of loud. I want right now women and I'm queer, so queers to be able to queer community to be able to take part in this, enjoy it, feel safe, have fun. I mean, like you said, there's people on TV that look like us, but it may not be us. And again, little kids, I want little kids to be able to come out and enjoy it. It's a great sport. You're outside, you get all those good endorphins from the sun, the sun, you get to talk to people, meet people like this. This is so good. Awesome. But like this is just so cool. And I want to help with. I came here today wanting to learn. I want to be part of this and help.
I think we were talking like offline about, in addition to visibility, it's like what type of visibility. And I think now we're in a great time with social media because we have ambassadors, we have community members all over who all they need to see is someone do it.
Yeah.
And the media channels that we have, the non-traditional media channels that we have, to do the storytelling, to rely on the content creators, for me, hiring, videographers to come into our sessions and to see what it is like to be a woman leading, even boys, right? Leading girls. And when you get to have the inside look of the experience, that's a representation in itself, right? Bringing people along the stories of the players and the people that you lead and the impact, right? I think storytelling is so huge in this day and age, and I think with the rise of women's sports, I think that was a catalyst. Building communities, collaborating, partnerships, experiences, those initiatives helped create the representation. Because what we see is like the visibility, if we see it, we can believe it, we can achieve it. If we keep seeing it, now you get inspiration behind that. Because I feel like, for me, from my perspective, in my community being a Black person, I feel like it wasn't easy to reach golf. You know what I'm saying? For us, it was the basketball, the traditional sports, the football, the track and field, because our community, it was just easy access. And those were the sports that were exposed to us. So now you do have more representation in it. You have women, you have queer women. Now you're saying, okay, yes, this is not exclusive anymore. It's closer in proximity than what you think. So having these communication channels and experiences and these panels, and putting the information out there. Content is king now, not just cash.
Right.
Content.
Content
So,
is business.
yeah, right. So it's like those are the new resumes.
And I think that's one of golf's problems. Is that they don't market it to the kind of people we want
Right.
to bring in.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know anything about golf. I don't think I've ever watched a
That's why
game
you're
of golf.
perfect for golf.
I know, that's why
I thought Jen, she's the one.
Jen
is the one.
She knows.
I don't know anything about golf.
But I know about marketing women's sports, and I know about bringing people in.
Right.
And I think golf has a huge marketing problem. If that's the one thing to take away from today, like people don't. There's no one to root for. There's nothing to hold on to because you don't. Like golf doesn't have like a Philadelphia team or so you can't even rally behind a specific team. It's just like these mostly random white people who there's no story, there's nothing to care about. I think
And a long
that's-
negative story of excluding blacks and
Right.
like the history, like long legacy.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's what they have to figure out.
No, that's exactly it. And what, I mean, kind of the big thing that I've been thinking about with Philly, right? Like, Philly is so, I mean, diverse, which is always like a strange word to say. But also very active in advocacy.
Yeah.
Like, we fight for our own, we protect the marginalized. I think about Hannah Einbinder at, what was the Emmys earlier this year, right? Go Birds, Free Palestine, fuck us.
Yes.
And that has been a rallying cry around Philly, right? And that's so cool. Like, holy hell. We don't have that for golf, exactly what you're saying. But golf really, so Craig Kessler is the new LPGA commissioner. And one of the things that he keeps saying is he wants to do the marketing like the like NWSL has. He wants to create stories and like the drama to latch onto in the LPGA. But Ashley, I feel like I'm curious for you from like a business perspective. Like, what does that story, like, what would you tell him to do better?
I tell him to come to Philly and let us put on an LPGA tournament. And so first of all,
Right? It is really, if you want buy-in, come to Philly.
Mary and I were just talking about this. We're gonna make an LPGA event happen.
We are.
Right?
We've been working. I was telling you, we have pieces together. We just need to pull it on to one thing. First of all, Philadelphia has one of the most historic golf courses that allow black players ever, and it's now being restored to great brilliance. And
That's
I
great.
will say, Tiger Woods, I appreciate that he's created an incubator for jobs and tutoring in the whole Cox Creek and regional community all around golf. So golf is having a moment in Philly, and like Philly, we don't do anything that's just. I mean, you can be. I don't care what you are. You say go Birds,
Right?
Yes. Cool.
Go
No,
Birds.
So this idea that golf is just for white people doesn't work in Philly.
Yeah.
And we don't need it to work because it's not true in Philly. We just need to make sure that we elevate the spaces that make it open to everybody. So you say business. It is bad for business to exclude our community. Yeah. Why would you do that? And to your point about branding and moments and what's going on online, is I was in preparation for this because I do know how to golf. I don't know a lot of that, but I mean, it was actually in 2002 to 2003, I was working in Miami, and I had a judge that they used to joke that we should have toilets strapped to our seats as we worked because we never, like, it was so stressful and we never could leave the bathroom. And so I have a story for everything. You understand? And so every morning, because in Miami it was nice out every morning, I would get up at 6:30 and go take a golf lesson like 3 or 4 times a week. And it was just like learning how to repeat and do the same motions was so soothing and psychologically good for me. And then I had kids, and I couldn't say I'm going to take 5 hours every Saturday or Sunday to go golf. So we have another problem with families. We need to create safe spaces for families so that the family that they can learn at young ages, but so can the adults enjoy golf maybe without their kids.
Absolutely.
It is sometimes fun. Now my daughter's awesome. We took golf lessons together, and it was us, and then her brother and her nephew and her uncle, and we were like, the girls are kicking the boys' butt. We were hitting it so much further, right? But anyway, it doesn't make sense from a business perspective, and then you start to build out the business brands, clothing. We're talking greatly diversified. I mean, you were telling me, Mary, that you get in trouble sometimes for wearing too short of a skirt. That's like,
You want to bring people in. And
Right.
right now, those long skirts and caps in school are no longer, they're not out there. So it's just kind of, like you said, it's what you're wearing. I mean, even that can dissuade people from doing it.
yes, and it's expensive, so you need places like Hop Creek that make it accessible, public golf courses and programs. So anyway, I'll stop talking, but like it's a bad for business idea to exclude our community. And we are in a community space where we really enjoy sports and we're having a moment here. So if you come to Philadelphia, this group right here can bring out a ton of people, and maybe they're basketball players, but maybe their back will eventually hurt and they want to pick up golf as that second sport, or tennis, or any of those other sports. Give them that opportunity, and to do it, they need to see it, and they need to know that they're going to feel good and welcome. Otherwise, they won't. Why would you do it?
Right.
You have too many
And
other
there
options.
has to be hype around it, and
Yeah.
nobody hypes a sport like Philly.
Oh my God, yeah. I grew up in a very small town in Northern California. Actually, same hometown as Megan Rapinoe. We are not best friends, but I'm trying to start that rumor.
Did you see the bottom of her shoes?
I have been trying to start this rumor for the past 5 years. So
Until she writes, I don't know this.
I don't know.
she's like, who are you? But really, I was one of I think 5 South Asian families. I had a bowl cut. I looked like a little boy. Like I just didn't care, which was amazing. But it was very apparent that I was like not welcome on the golf course. At the same time, I got like really, really good at golf, and so everybody just knew me for that, and it was like great, a shield. But I didn't see people who looked like me. I saw Tiger on TV, right? Like I saw Michelle Wee when I was a little bit older, and just not many other people. And that representation is such an important piece because I was like, can I even be here? And then I was just like, screw everybody, I'm still gonna be here.
Well, thank goodness you had that fire.
And not many
Everybody
people
was
do.
happy.
Yeah, not many, and that's like not a, that's not great. Like I had the opportunity to play professionally, and that was amazing. Not every young girl or young kid has that opportunity, but they should if they want to.
Or should have the opportunity to have the dream.
Exactly,
Yes.
and like you're saying, like in Philly, you see that dream coming true in all of these different sports. And I think a huge part of that, like if I'm thinking back on my own experience, it's like if I grew up in a sports town where everybody was like so stoked about sports, and if they found out that I was an athlete, they'd be pumped that I was an athlete, then I would just be thrilled, right, to get out there. And so everything that you guys are saying, it's like this is a culture that like wants to celebrate people and like wants to bring the LPGA here, and like we could. So Mary and I were actually talking about this, and she was like, I could go and talk. I know people where we could make this happen. So
We're gonna make it happen.
we're gonna make this happen.
We're
Exactly.
gonna hear first,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, we're making it
Started
happen.
here. This is like we got the WNBA team over drinks. I'm the only one having a drink right now. But it's good wine on my porch with Wanda and Alex Sykes because they only drink good wine because she's Parisian, Alex. So this is where the best ideas can happen.
So we're gonna make it happen. We were talking about merch a little bit. Again, I love merch. But you brought it up both Mary and Ashley, you brought up how visibly like that fashion on the course is a piece of like making people want to come in and make it cool. One of my friends has this brand called Metalwood Golf. Cole, oh my God, why can't I remember his last name? But it's this brand that's based off of early 2000s, 90s golf wear. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like it?
Are you going to wear it?
It's very cool. I
love it.
it's so cool.
I know.
Some of us lived it.
And we know what we look like.
Right.
They look cute or younger, don't they?
But Cole's brand, he's an Asian dude, so I love supporting POC-owned businesses. There's Eastside Golf, which is a Black-owned golf company. One thing that I was curious about all of you, or kind of what you guys thought, for me, it's like I see these brands, their stuff is really cool,